The Roleplay Cafe, it's Dale here. I thought I would pull over, take 5 as it were, and do a little video. Now, there's, I don't know, maybe 5-6 months ago, whenever it was, I did a little short video about, kind of a prompting video about mimesis and diegesis. And why I did that was, well, it was to further the discussion about immersion, which Jason did a video about autotelic, and then we ended up doing a podcast on role-playing with smart people on that subject. And it's kind of spawned off and been touched on by everyone. And you know, in large respect, we tried to develop Dark Age of Man with that conceit in mind to make it more in-character role-play friendly. You know, take off the training wheels, don't rely on heavy mechanics to prompt us or to pull us out of immersion, and to, you know, give that agency and compel people, like Jason says, not be a wallflower, be preemptively proactive and jump in there and play, and, you know, and follow the character development as it leads, where it leads. You know, a little bit of a Socrates statement there, which leads me to mimesis and diegesis, which was that little video I put up so long ago to prompt that further discussion, but we never got around to it in podcast or otherwise. And life gets in the way. You know, everybody's been juggling a lot of different things. We finally got the layout discussion done for Dark Age of Man, and that should be excitedly so being completed by the end of the year, or worst case start of next year. So we should have the hard copy in our hands by then, the printed copy. So that's good news. A little announcement on the side. But to get back to the main point of, like Ivan said, that is not what this video is about, but it's what I said when I was trying to prompt that was diegesis is, I mean, this comes from the early Greek philosophers, basically how it's basically narrative storytelling. And mimesis is mimicry. Okay, so you're mimicking something in real life. You know, I think there's been, you know, oftentimes I think like Plato had a negative connotation when we said that. You know, like the more closer to truth was further away from mimicry. Aristotle was a little bit more friendly of it because he felt like any kind of art that was mimicking life was in effect, you know, possibly showing some kind of emotion, or, you know, he just had a more friendly, less derogatory view of the concept. So those are base, but as any concept happens, and then as story or art gets more involved and changes, there becomes different types of mimicry, or, you know, mimesis, different types of diegesis. Now, for the intent of role play, and why I mentioned that is effectually like the world. If I'm a character in role play, the world I'm inhabiting is the diegesis. Okay. And myself, if I'm inhabiting a character and mimicking that character, or pretending to be that character, like even an actor is mimicking, even though it's scripted and whatnot. Where if you're a character, you're having to play, you know, in a role playing game, you're playing off the cuff. You're playing improvisationally, so you're still mimicking a character in a situation in the diegesis. So that's how I'm using those words according to roleplay. When we're in the setting, in the world, in the imagined world, the narrative world, we're in the diegesis. And it's also the principle of when you speak about your character as what he's doing, you do it diegetically. You're not doing it in character. You're not mimicking from his view, from the character's view, his or her view. So it's a little bit different. And that's the point I'm wanting to pull out. Whenever, if a GM sits there, a presenter in our game, and they're describing the world and what's happening, and you can do it diegetically. You're describing what is going on. Even the player can do this. He can describe his actions. When he goes into an immediacy moment of being in character and speaking back and forth in character, which we like to say immersed in character, to draw on that immersion. You'll notice that's been said in like video games and whatever. Be immersed in this character, feel like you're enacting as this character in the world, or as yourself in this world or in the setting. So you're drawn into it. And anytime you have to pull out of it, it breaks that immersion. So that's some of the problems that can happen in role play if you try to get in character, if you try to get in mimesis, especially from the improvisational point of perspective that you're going off of largely in a role-playing game when you're playing and interacting with NPCs or interacting with others or the setting as it were in character. You're doing it in that headspace of the character. You're doing it mimicking what that character would do in that moment faced with these atrocities. So you're the character. And like I say, if the GM is describing the world, or if you're describing your character in the third person or what's going on, which largely is the conceit and practice of most role-playing games, you're doing it diegetically. You're saying what's going on. Well, my character goes over here and does this, or I'm rolling a dice. So you're playing in that headspace. It's different. You're narrating the same way the GM is narrating what's going on. You're narrating what your character's doing from a diegetic position. And to wrap, maybe that's preferable for some people to play that way, and they don't want to get that in-character perspective or care so much. Like Sam said, he wants to know what makes players tick, what makes NPCs tick, what makes his own character tick. And the best place to do that is from in-character mimesis position. You get in there and you really want to know subtly what is moving your character or what is not, or what is tormenting your character, whatever is happening. If I watched an interesting video, Ivan put up about you're playing Call of Cthulhu and the insanity mechanic, and there was a role that called him to be aware of how much something had affected his character mentally to drive him toward insanity, right? And losing his grip. In an example, when we played, when Sam ran us in the third session, my character, which is very conflicted, and Sam had dropped these, I'm playing a priest that theologically was against the methodology of Bishop Aethelwald, which was Sam's previous character, the other Chronicles that had taken over the Abbey. And my character had been there before Bishop Aethelwald had taken over, so he was more in line with the precedent set by the previous Bishop Falcone, which Aethelwald saw as being corrupt, very corrupt, right? Well, my character didn't see it that way, but he was on the fence. He could, you know, people as characters develop, that they, you know, especially if you stay in that headspace to find out what motivates them, they can change and have pivot points in their life and in their ideology and their worldviews. Though sometimes it's hard, it could have happened. The guys did not know that that my character Boethius was a Falcone man, and he was really on the fence a lot of that, especially since Sam introduced seeds that was dropping there where there was moments of visions, and these visions were conflicting my character in the moment. In character moment I was having with him, and where is he going to go with this? What is he going to do? Right? And sometimes mechanically you need a nudge in one way or another. And when it got to a point of where or not I wasn't aware of some vision that happened to me, and on the roll of the dice, when it happened to me, that helped me along making up that character's mind, because when he had this revelation, he was less on the fence and more fully vested to go one way or the other, and he went fully toward Falcone. It was a surprise and a development that Sam nor Jason, as being the other character, foresaw. Admittedly so, from either of them, they were surprised. You know, so that the character developed in a way to where it was satisfying from my point of view in play and their point of perspective, their character's perspective, and as presented Sam, his perspective, it totally jarred him. He didn't see it coming. The NPCs that he was playing in character for him, when he would slip into mimesis and play these characters, these NPCs in the world, it was a surprise to them. So, thus, in large respect, what I'm bringing out here is, you know, whenever that role happened, and it helped me decide the perspective of that character, mechanically, things can help you determine in character where your character stands on any position. So, you know, be it a purposeful mechanic like sanity roll, or either something like I rolled to see whether or not I did that, and I knew my character. I inferred from that roll, so that roll had more of a dual meaning. You can call from that one roll various aspects, you know, so whatever cross my character was bearing, whether it was a mental affliction or maybe a physical ailment or what have you, rolls of dice can help, you know, topple your character one way or another, or strengthen them or embolden them. You know, it's very interpretive. So, you know, the system we got here is really intuitively easy for people to understand, but it's also in a myriad of ways, you know, it grants and lends toward the agency of each player to be able to draw from and infer various things about their own character that they've developed through mimesis play, in character play, from that headspace. But you got to slip into that character to get a full, more fuller, I would say, realized, internalized view of that character as they wrestle with conflict that they have. You know, I mean, you could do it maybe sympathetically, but not so much empathetically for the character from a diegetic point of view when you're outside and you're just describing your character moving along and you go, ooh, that happened to him. What would he do here? Right? Where if you put yourself in there, you feel a little bit more invested and empathetic toward the character, and you can represent that character. That's from my point of view. So that's what a lot of what we tried to get in play, in that extra layer of satisfaction in play by delving into a character. And it's really geared toward wanting to know characters on a deeper level and what motivates them and what drives them, more so than, you know, from an outside viewer perspective. You know, like when you sit and watch a TV, you're watching something, or you read a novel, you watch it transpire. So it's really depends on your perspective of where you want to, and how you want to engage in the game. The distance you want on a character level of how you want to delve into that character. So to me, I think the struggle is finding a game in a sweet spot to where you can bring players more into the fold of mimesis type play instead of just diegetically playing a game and a character, and opening that up for them. You know, a lot of mechanical play is really friendly toward diegetic play, just narrative play, and what happens both from players and GMs or wherever you sit on at the table. But to cross that line over to mimesis play, it needs to be less intrusive mechanically, to where you can inhabit and be empathetic toward your character from a position of that character's headspace. These are just some thoughts that I'm sharing, and like I said, why I tried to bring up the mimesis and diegesis, because I think, to me, it kind of speaks toward the different types and forms of play and engagement in a role-playing game that different people prefer. But anyway, just wanted to throw it out there for thought and discussion, and people to ruminate on and see what comes of it. But like I said, we did get the layout done for Dark Age of Man, and by the end of the year, or certainly in January, at least we'll have hard copies in our hands. So great news, and look forward toward more gaming in the future. All right, take care, y'all. Peace out.